Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Hingulambikaya Namaha. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amratarupini Tanushakti Manashive Shri Hingulaya Namaha. Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another video of our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava. So in this episode of Bhairava, we'll try to understand him a one step closer as whatever we know him a minute before. Today we are going to discuss about one of a greatest yogi who was connected to Bhairava and become Bhairava himself. So maybe actually before I share more information about this, so whatever the inputs I'm going to share it to you, it is about like whatever I have heard from my guru, as well as the scriptures, few of the scriptures which talks about Kashmiri Shaivism, about this legendary person, and the connected stories or connected facts, how exactly he was the Bhairava himself, the living Bhairava himself. Again, so before we jump into this, let me just tell you, the child of the yoginis. He was being called as a child of the yoginis because in the this story started at the valley of the Kashmir, where Avantika's it was like Avantika dynasty in 1950s. So in 19th century, all this happened. It was a snow peak. I know you would be knowing the Kashmiri Valley is a snow peak, and there was a Brahmin couple at that village, Avantika village. Now at Pulgama, whatever we call Pulgama Valley or Pulwama village. In that space, there lived actually a Brahmin family by named Narasimhagupta as well as Vimala. Narasimhagupta was a most scholar, a very great devotee of the Shiva, and he used to teach about Shaivism as well as Vyakarna to the children around him. So he used to teach to the school children about exactly about Vyakarna, the basic foundation of the knowledge which is very essential at that given point of time when it comes to the Sanskrita. His concept was Vimalama. Vimala was a greatest yogini. She was actually like embodiment of a, we can call it as a pure as well as a devotee of the Shakti, Devima. And she always used to actually, the couple used to always pray that actually their kids need to have a better future when it comes to the next generation who are going to be in their family. So they had two sons, one daughter, and the first son actually was actually before he was born. There used to be like a few sages. A few sages used to come and whisper that the child will be born in your home, and not an ordinary they used to tell it is not an ordinary flesh which is going to be born. It is but a yogini's designated to illuminate the path of the Shiva. Bhairava himself is going to come. They Narayana Gupta did not had word to describe because he was only had a gratitude towards this sages whoever used to come, and this did not happen once. It happened thrice before the child was being born. That sages used to come on a different stages for the couple of Narasimhagupta and the Vimala, and they used to come and tell that there would be a baby which would be born as the child of a yoginis. He would be in the path of the Bhairava and the designated limitation to the Shaiva Shakti. On the third instance, when actually this happened, the baby boy was born. The child was none other than the family, the next family generation of Narasimhagupta, the child was being named by the name Abhinavagupta. I believe you would be connecting now what exactly I'm talking about the story. See here, what we need to understand here is there is, when it comes to the Abhinavagupta, um, they had a very deep connection as well as a meaning, esoteric meaning when it comes to the word Abhinava. And even Gupta, it is from the lineage from the Gupta family, but still, from Abhinava Gupta, the family named him because Abhinava, as the sages came and told that it will not be a ordinary flesh. So it is fresh, ever fresh. We can call it as ever new. Abhinava. Nava is actually new. Abhi is very, very new, very fresh. So they came and conveyed that there would not be a normal or a normal flesh which is going to be born in your family. So they named him as Abhinav. Gupta is from their surname as tradition, but if you see from esoterical word, the Gupta is somewhat like a protection or a hidden. The title given by his master was in a different way. He used to be called as Abhinava. He used to call as a Shankaracharya at that given point of time when it comes to the Tantra Loka. I will try to give all the connected dots when it comes to his birth, because at that young age, the Abhinava Gupta um, had a very like he is born with very mystical signs. The Rishimunis came and actually shared him about it. They used to tell him that actually he would be the um, shadow of the Bhairava. He would be actually taken care by the yoginis. All these things actually was giving a very beautiful connection to the couple, Narayana Gupta as well as Vimala. And the it happened in such a way that Narayan Gupta, as I told you, like he being a greatest scholar, he used to teach Vyakarana to the childrens. Her mother used to actually do a lot of sadhana to the Shakti, especially to the Kalima. She used to be a Kali Aradhana as well as she used to do the Shakti Aradhana basically. And she used to always make sure that their childrens actually are much more protected from the Devi grace perspective. And she used to always teach about the mantras rather than making the kid play with the toys. She used to always make the kid to sit and teach the mantras, and the mantra used to be in such a way, the 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 pronunciation as well as the synchronization of the syllable used to be such a profound teacher, as she was her like she used to teach the kid as a teacher, such that the kid understand the meaning of the mantra and start reciting of the mantra at the very young age. It was like very engaged. The Abhinava Gupta was able to learn all the beautiful mantras. He used to play around all the Vyakaranas as well as a mantra, like a scholar who used to do that at the age of 14 or a 15. So at the very age of 3 to 5, he had such a intense knowledge of the Sanskrita connection, the base, the foundation of the Vyakarana in such a way that he used to um, love to recite the mantra whenever he do any kind of an activity. Even it would be like taking bath or having his food or talking to someone, sitting on the bhumi, bhusparsha, doing every sort of it, he used to recite one particular mantra. As you know that all the stories have certain fate, was a dramatic fate always happens. Similar what actually happened even in Abhinava Gupta's family. Like when Abhinava Gupta was only like 3 to 5 years old, his mother passed away. And his mother passed away at the third, when her sister, actually he Abhinava Gupta had one brother as well as one sister. During the pregnancy of her sister, actually he passes away. So like most would see it as a loss. So basically normally when we see that actually when mother passes away, we see that the big loss for the kids. Yes, for the children it's because it is a first initiation. She would be actually a caretaker, the nurturer to the going to the boyhood or adulthood, she would be nurturing very beautifully. But this was absence in Abhinavagupta's life. The absence was motherly touch turned to be a very beautiful gaze inward to him, that he always used to have two questions: who am I, why I have come here, and where I am going to go. These were the 2 to 3 burning questions started at the age of 3 to 5 to him. And he was used to ask this particular question to all the masters as well as his relatives, whoever were the part of a scholar, and even his father, that father, who I am, why I am come here, and what is my purpose of this life. This was the question which made him to be as to take him to the shadow of the Bhairava himself. He began to feel the presence of his mother everywhere, because she had, at the very young age, he was being initiated with the Shakti sadhana, and he, at the age, as I told you, by 5 years kid, he used to perform the Shakti sadhana. He used to perform the Shakti sadhana, and he used to feel the mother Shakti herself, that actually his mother has not gone anywhere. Her presence is in his sadhana, and he used to feel her mother silently embodying him as well as supporting, nurturing him in all the stages. He was said that actually he never felt alone at all. Like when we see when we hear the story of the Abhinavagupta, it has been beautifully articulated that at that so young age he never felt loneliness, because he had divine mother Shakti with him to support. That's what actually made him to be have a beautiful foundation to the next level for the boy. Abhinavagupta was not like others, as even sages came and repeatedly told that actually it will not be a normal flesh. He would be something extraordinary connecting to the yoginis, or because of his Shakti sadhana paddhati, or it has been said that 64 yoginis used to be with him 24 bar 7 and support and nurture him as what next to be done. Like they used to be like a supporting factors for him to like what next to be done. Like as I told you, as a child he did not used to play with the toys, or he did not play with some with the friends or relatives, or something which has really been a time capturing. No, he did not do that. He used to play with the sounds, he used to play with the mantras, and repeating syllables, like certain syllables actually if his mother had taught him about the Shakti, about the Shiva, he used to actually use that mantras and play with those mantras, somewhat like label for the like he has come from in some other world or some other space, because at that very young age his pronunciation was so beautiful, and he used to sing the mantras very much connected, and his mantras used to actually touch and feel everyone around him, whoever used to hear him about this mantras. It has been also been articulated that whenever he used to see the sky, and he did not just see as a clouds or like a stars in the night, he used to actually tell his sister as well as his brother that he used to see the Shiva in the cloud dancing, and Shakti actually trying to console Shiva when Shiva is sitting in the meditation way. This beautiful articulation actually at that very young age, the moment of the light, whenever it used to be passed, whenever there was a star which used to be blinking, he used to get connected very beautifully and used to narrate that he used to see that actually there is some image on the sky in the cloud as well as in the stars. I believe you also would agree with me. Whenever we were there in the childhood days, we used to sit. Whenever we used to sleep in the open sky, we used to see the moonlight and the cloud and the stars, and we used to connect certain storylines. That was even what the Abhinavagupta as a child he was to doing, but not as a normal story, but he used to connect directly with the Shiva Paramatma as well as the Shakti herself. And it is villagers often used to tell the stories that Abhinavagupta would sit in the meditation, like he used to go play and take his cattle to nearby with his friends, and he used to go sit in particular place for the meditation at the age of 4 and 5. So he used to go and sit on meditation without moving, and he used to sit for the meditation normally for more than 6 to 7 hours. And whenever he used to open his eyes after the meditation, the villagers used to tell that his eyes used to glow like a sparkle. Used to glow like he used to breathe so softly that entire presence of the divinity they used to actually feel in him. His voice used to be so low, so beautiful, so connected. Villagers used to sit and listen to him because he used to actually recite certain mantras, connect certain devatas, slokas, tell about the meaning of that slokas at the very young age, less than 7 years. He used to actually do all these things. This prakriya was actually been witnessed by the villagers, and they used to enjoy very much. And as I told you, his Narayan Gupta, being his father, the first guru, he had taught him a very beautiful foundation of the samskara in such a way that his pronunciation was very good. And when it comes to the Shakta tradition, it has been always told, like in Kaula, we always tell that especially when we recite any kind of a mantra, the mantra recitation need to be much more proper and with a proper bhava. It is not that actually I am reciting. If we have to tendency in that bhavana that I am trying to recite it and Devata is wishing or willing to hear that, then we are fooling ourselves. In similar way, when his father taught him about the mantra sadhana, his mother uh, explained and gave a diksha to the young kid as a sadhana, and he used to perform that sadhana. He was being said that Shakti with his all 64 yoginis were actively supporting, guiding him, nurturing him, invisibly around him and walking beside him. It is somewhat like a entire his childhood was being protected by all those yoginis, just to make sure that he was prepared very well, because he had a very big task to be performed when it comes to the future and the mystical of the cosmic of what we call it as Tantra Loka. Today, if we have speaking something about the Kashmiri Shaivism, the first renounced monk everyone would speak today, even in social media as well as in the scriptures, we will see about Abhinavagupta. So Abhinavagupta, he was nurtured very beautifully, and he used to be like he used to also tell certain mythological stories to the villagers, and he used to also teach about Devi very beautifully, about how exactly beautiful the Devi is all about. When he sit for the meditation, how he is able to see the Devi, what are the things actually as a Devi to the kid, she used to nurture it. He used to be called by the villagers as Yogini Bau. Yogini Bau means actually born to the divine mother, not like Vimalama, as Vimalama was able to take him for only for the couple of years, but it was the Devi herself actually nurtured Abhinavagupta such that he was named as Yogini Bau. And like this happened in such a way that his uh, not only his villagers, friends, relatives, everyone actually used to participate, or we can call it as actually they were practitioners of Shaivism as well as a Shakta Tantra, because that was very very prominent at that given point of time in the Kashmir Valley. He was raised in a like as I told you, environment where mantra used to be like a very precise and very importance for a Brahmin community, and he used to take this as a very seriously. And not only reciting this in his puja space, he used to even tell this in front of the villagers, such that actually even they get to know about what exactly the mantra is about, what is the meaning about it, and how exactly this mantra can be a beautiful life changer for their situations in their life. All this happened actually like within like age of 5 and 10. And it is also been articulated in few of the scriptures that the very young boy Abhinavagupta was so extraordinary. He had a beautiful memory and a sharp intellect that he used to actually memorize entire scriptures and verses of entire easily. Like it has been said that the the storylines of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, he used to actually sing as a verses to the villagers and used to tell that at the young age of 5 to 10. That was a beautiful memory he was been gifted with. After, as I told you, like Shaktapati, Shaktapat actually was certain sadhana paddhati. When his mother actually was introduced, he used to make sure that that particular sadhana was continuing as his daily rituals for him. He used to practice a sadhana. Normally we as a sadhakas, we think that actually it is a mandala sadhana. It is like a 21 days, it is a 48 days, it is like a 3 mandala 144 days, or we will take this as a 90 days or a 120 days of mandala sadhana. This is what actually we limit ourselves. But the kid, Abhinavagupta, he made sure that his entire life, the childhood days, was completely in the paddhati of the sadhana. Every day he used to make sure that Shaktipata was recited. The divine grace of the mother, he used to recite it, he used to enjoy, and he used to actually do this sadhana because this was actually initiation was given by his mother, Vimalama. And it is also been noted that Vyakarana was at the very basic, we can call it as a foundation, which is very essential at that given point of time. His father used to be very much shocked astronaut by the response of the his son, that actually his Vyakarana was so beautiful, like grammar. Vyakarana is nothing but the grammar, and Nyaya is something like a logical. He used to think very logically when it comes to the Vyakaranas, and also Darshana, we can call it as actually psychological events. He used to get connected very beautifully, and he used to give a very beautiful connected information. And something called Alankara Shastra. Alankara Shastra is used to be very prominent at that given point of time in the 19th century, because if we talk about the Shakta or the Kaula today, most of the verses are actually like a Alankara Shastra. It is like a poetry. Even if you see whatever we call it as Kavacham, or maybe actually certain mantras is in a poetical form, and the poetical form is somewhat like a connecting, the poet connecting to the creator, and that is called as an Alankara Shastra. And especially when it comes to the Shiva, it was like all about agamas as well as tantras. At the very young age, by 5 to 10 years, he was able to digest all these things, and his father was like, oh, my son is going to be very knowledgeable, because he used to do all these things. So his first guru, the foundation, very beautiful, was laid by his own parents, Vimalama as well as Nirmalananda. Um, and it is also been said that after learning all these things, the question whatever he had it at the age of 3, when his mother passed away, like who I am, why I am here, what is my mission statement, or what is the reason, or what is my purpose of this life, these questions actually were burning to him in such a way. He used to take parikrama of entire like Kashmiri valley, going, talking to each scholars, sitting with them, understanding, learning, debating, knowing about what exactly is about the Shaivism, what is the Agamas, what is actually the real word of the Tantra, how exactly this Tantra is being connected to the Mantra Sadhana. All these things actually he was able to get connected. It was like around age 15 he got to know about his awareness, as now he need to get the answers of all these questions. He started going around all, and it has been known that actually he had almost like 15 masters in his entire lifetime. People tell that actually we need to have a one single master in the sadhana paddhati. Do you think that actually whatever we did our schoolings at the nursery is the same teacher is going to be the same lecturer of your PhD syllables? No, right? In similar way, this was actually the knowledge. Even the Abhinavagupta had at a very young age, he went to each individual masters who were available at that given point of time. He used to go to the Rishimunis, sit with them, take a time and actually understand about the mantras, understand more into depth of it rather than only the mantra, how exactly this esoteric connection is connected with the Shiva and Parvati discussion. He used to understand that in a very beautiful way. Shakta Guna as well as a Shakta is, we can call it a Shiva and Shakta Guna, was actually very, very prominent at that given point of time, and everyone used to practice this. Entire Kashmir is what used to be called as Kashmiri Brahmins, and it was not as what we are today. We are having the issue of a geopolitical issues when it comes to the current situation, and when it comes to the his profound teachers, it is being said that there are five such teachers who were able to nurture him, and the he was able to take his prominence of his sadhana to the next level. He himself been calling, not himself been calling, he people used to call him as a living Bhairava. So um, so to be in that situation, he was nurtured by five masters. It was first was like Lakshmanagupta. Lakshmanagupta was like a greatest scholar about at that given point of time, who had a very prominent knowledge about the Trika. Okay, we'll talk about what is exactly Trika in if we get the time at the end. We will talk about it. He was very prominent and knowledgeable when it comes to the Trika knowledge, and we call it as somewhat like Pratyabhijna. Pratyabhijna is something like, we can call it as a philosophy. Okay, recognizing Shiva as well as Shiva's nature. It is like a core nature of a Shiva. Who is Shiva? It is Pratyabhijna. That was a quality of it. But let me just pitch in, like, before I talk about what exactly is about Trika. Maybe I'll try to share on a very high level what exactly the Trika is all about. Trika is somewhat like it is a um, major word of a Trika is somewhat like a Trika Loka. We can call it as light of Tantra. Okay, so than that, let me just connect in a very basic when it comes to the Trika. Like every one of us actually would be having a doubt as what exactly is a Trika, and why when it comes to the Abhinavagupta, why people talk about the Trika. Trika is somewhat like actually a meaning of three folds. Three folds of the knowledge. The three folds of the knowledge, very, very connected for the human existence. It is about the um, tridic, or we can call it as a tridic vision, or we can call it as the heart of the tradition of that particular Shaiva when it comes to the connection between the three folds. It is para, parapara, apara. Para is nothing but Shiva, purest consciousness. Purest consciousness of Shiva used to be called as a Para Shiva. Next is actually Parapara. Parapara is somewhat like a Shakti herself. Okay, Parapara is actually Parapara. Shakti herself being part of Shiva consciousness. It is like a dynamic power of the consciousness of the Shiva, and she being the entire control of the cosmos. Parapara, and apara is somewhat like connected to the Nara. Nara means actually we has limited embodiment of the bodies as humans. How Shiva, Shakti and Nara can be connected. This is actually called as an upasya. Upasya is like, upasya is not like, it's a three-dimensional path, we can call it as. Okay, we can connect it somewhat like a Shambopaya. It is a direct recognition of the Shakti path when it comes to the Shambhopaya. But Shambhopaya, here the very core esoteric connection will be from a Shakti. Okay, Shaktopaya is the second. We can call it a second path, and that is like meditating about the method through the connection. Whatever we do in a sadhana paddhati, that is actually Shaktopaya. When it comes to the mother, uh, divine mother's sadhana paddhati, Shaktopaya. Okay, it is actually the process. We can call it as a meditative process, methods, process, and um, procedures which need to be understood as a sadhakas. Anopaya is the third path. It is like a method of using this body and this using the breath control as well as the senses, the five senses, taking control of all this five senses with this breathing as well as the body, making this as a channel to connect to the Shiva. Parapara is actually um, Anopaya. These, in a very very high level, I'm trying to tell. In Kashmiri Shaivism, when it comes to the Trika, a lot big syllable of the book is already available, where the we can call it as a Tantra tradition. Trika is actually a big subject when it comes to. On a very high level, I have tried to share it. As I told you, when it comes to the works of Trika, there are when it comes to the Trika, it is like a Tantra Loka is a gift which has been given by Abhinavagupta. Maybe we are still at the age of 10, but still, why I'm trying to connect these dots is about we had ended up with the word as a Trika. And when it comes to actually Tantra Sara and even Parma Shastra as well as Abhijna Vismaya, or we can call it as Vimarasa, is actually the greatest scholar books actually where Abhinavagupta was able to give to the humankind. It is been said that all these things was taught to him by the first guru. I'm not talking about his father Narasimhagupta. He is unseen we can call it as unconnected or uncounted guru here, because he was from his family. The external guru Lakshmana Gupta was able to teach the complete esoteric connection of the Trika, the Pratyabhijna, the consciousness of a Shiva, Para, which was able to taught by him. And all the connections was able to share, especially how the Shiva consciousness is very essential when it comes to the Shaktopaya. His second guru was Bhutaraja. Bhutaraja was able to teach him about the Spandana. Spandana is somewhat like a vibration consciousness. Whatever we hear, the mantra. Even his mother was able to teach him about the importance of the mother. The child was being recognized at the very young age, even by his father as well as the villagers and his relatives. He had a very dotted connection of knowledge when it comes to the Spandana. And the Spandana Yoga or Spandana Shastra was actually learned by Bhutaraja. And the third master was very esoteric for him, because he was the long-term guru. Even till dated, when it comes to the Abhinavagupta, we talk about this person who is Shambunatha. Shambunatha was actually his third guru, who introduced to that 15 to 25 years boy about all about the Kaula practices or intense tantric rituals and energy awakening process was being taught by Shambunatha. And his fourth guru was Vamanatha. Vamanatha was able to teach about the karma. As I told, we have read about the last video about how exactly Vishnu was able to learn about the karma shastra directly from the Kala Bhairava. Similarly, karma, when it comes to the knowing about the karma, is very very essential. It is not about only the scriptures or the proficiency about the scriptures we need to know, but when it comes to the karma theory, as an individual, as a sadhakas, we need to know what are the stages of the karma and how exactly we will be able to take control of it, those. And this was actually disclosed and shared by Vamanatha to that young energetic Abhinavagupta, where he was able to know about what karma shastra, not only from a karma theory perspective, he was able to teach him about the time transcendence connecting to the Kali as well as a Bhairava. He was a Kali sadhaka and he was also a Tara sadhaka, and it is also been said that he has done all the Dashamahavidyas, not getting stuck to one particular Swarupini of the Devi. He was being introduced by Vamanatha, being a guru to all the Dashamahavidyas. Few of them actually did connected that actually one particular Devi is going to be complete. I fully bow down to them as their point of connection is completely correct. But when it comes to the Guru Tattva, unless you know the essence, the complete scriptures, unless you know the complete syllable, complete subject, theoretical information, you will not be becoming a much more expertise when it comes to the knowing on the highest level of the knowledge. That was actually taught by Vamanatha. Vamanatha was able to connect about the dots about the Karma Shastra in a very beautiful way. The fifth guru was Srinatha. Srinatha was able to tell the second stage about the karma, esoteric meditation connected to the Karma Shastra. And in Karma Shastra, there is a connected of something called as an Maha Kali. And in Maha Kali, there is connection which is again connecting back to the yoginis and how exactly Kalima and their connected yoginis siddhis can be done. And it is also been said Srinatha was also one of his prominent guru who taught him about Kamakyama and also made Abhinavagupta to visit to the temple and learn from the one of a master, and that master is none other than again Shambunatha. As I told you, Kaula is connected to Tantra, practices everything. So Shambunatha, Srinatha, the fifth guru, he was able to divert him back that actually his Shambunatha would be the right person when it comes to the Devi, enhancing your connection, perception, connectivity to the next level and practicing the Kaula Tantra into a beautiful way. And those awakening energy can only be grasped by the Guru himself. And Shambunatha was able to teach him very beautifully. And Shambunatha actually in his Gurukula, he also used to make certain Buddhist monk to come to his place and talk about logic, Vyakarana, or what we call it as Nyaya, that is actually logical thought process discussion. Darsana is actually, as I told you, philosophies used to be discussed at that given point of time. And he used to call to his Gurukula and used to talk about, make them to know about the Vedantas, Sanskrit, actually like esoteric mantras, cross traditional, we can call it as a cross traditional masteries, not only cross traditional knowledge expertise now, even at that given point of time, even the Gurukula used to be teaching their kids or their students about how exactly cross traditional knowledge is very very important when it comes to the awakening of the energies to the next level. At the age of 25 he was able to learn all these things, and he was being told by his guru, that is Shambunatha, that now he need to go to the highest level of sadhana paddhati, the deepest when it comes to the Kaula sadhana. It is been said that very few of the students was being chosen to this particular stage, the next stage of the deepest Tantra sadhana. He was around at 25 to 30 at that given point of time. Especially he was being introduced to something called as Kaula Mandala. Kaula Mandala is actually circles of initiation. They used to draw certain geometrical symbols and make use to come and by Panchamakaras, especially from a mudra aspect perspective, they used to call the deities, the energy forms, to come and sit in that particular Kaula Mandala. Kaula Mandala is something like circles of initiation was being given to him about how the geometrical energies can be drawn to the next level of the connectivity. He was also being introduced to something called as an Smashana Sadhana, not only from the Kali as well as from the Bhairava. There used to be like a connected lot of series, lot of we can call it as like Amavasya as well as a Purnima was a beautiful window for him where actually these practices used to be continued. As I always told earlier, he never used to take this sadhana as for the days. He used to continue this when Guru has told him to start and stop. Not as a calendar date to check like I have completed 11, 21, 48. No. Guru has told him to do actually start this practice, told him to stop. This is what actually he used to do. And in this practice, cremation ground, Smashana Sadhana, he had gained certain siddhis. It has been said that actually he used to be not only doing his sadhana, not only in the cremation ground, but also asked the Shambunatha had asked Abhinavagupta to go and sit in the cave and do certain kind of a deepest meditation, especially in the midnight rituals. Dedicated, especially when it comes to the Kala Bhairava, there is certain midnight rituals which are being performed for the higher level of connectivity. As I always tell, it is being said that Mula Mantra used to be his basic, or we can call it as his daily rituals. People till date had come and ask me, I have already completed this mantra for 2 mandalas, 3 mandalas, I need to go to the next mandala. Let me just reiterate this. Scholars, the greatest sages like Abhinavagupta taught us that Mula Mantra is the foundation. Today, whatever we recite as Om Bhairavaya Namaha, people think that actually it is a normal mantra. It is a foundation, invoking the divine entity of energies into our mandala is actually the connectivity of the portal which is going to get established, and that can only happen when your entire foundation, your connectivity, the way of you calling him, which will be much more prominent. That is the reason I always tell, do not forget about your Mula Mantra, because your Mula Mantra is going to be staying for your entire lifetime. Even after Prathama Charana, Dvitiya, Tritiya, I always request all the sadhakas to make sure that you take some dedicated time to actually recite the Mula Mantra, because Mula Mantra is going to be a foundation for all of us when it comes to the sadhana paddhati. Coming back to the story, Shambunatha was able to make him about the we can call it as Turyatita. Turyatita is actually the avastha when it comes to the higher level of the sadhana paddhati. It is like a timeless, okay, beyond walking, dreaming, as well as in a deep sleep. You do certain level of meditation. Even in the deepest what we call it as in a dreaming state, we will be performing certain sadhanas. When we are walking, we will be performing certain sadhanas. In a deepest sleep, still your conscious thoughts will be actually performing the sadhana at that given point of time. That is called Turyatita. He used to experience this Turyatita only because his guru was able to teach him how exactly that can be performed. He was able to realize Bhairava not only as an external deity after doing all these things. He was able to know that his own pure boundless consciousness is connected to Bhairava, and he can invoke Bhairava into his body. This is why I told you a child who became Bhairava. So at the age of 30, he was from his master Gurudeva. He was able to understand all this very beautiful what we call it as the Tantra Shastra, the consciousness which is connected to Para, as he not only limiting himself, he was able to connect to the Bhairava consciousness and making himself as part of that consciousness. And when it comes to his we can call it as like he started actually creating a certain scriptures when it comes to the Tantra science. I can call it as Tantra science because Tantra is not just the word which is being used as a taboo today, or it has been only for the limited community or the limited people who only practice the sadhana. No, Tantra is being said not only now, even the sages have been told this is Tantra Vijnana. Tantra Vijnana is nothing but Tantra science. Okay, and when it comes to the research or the contribution of the Abhinavagupta when it comes to the Tantra Shastra, He was able to give us a beautiful connecting books, as I already told, Tantra Loka Shastra. Like, he was able to connect the Tantra metaphysics, we can call it as a blending the Tantra into the science was beautifully been done. He was able to connect the metaphysics, the Tantra metaphysics of the Mantra Sadhana Paddhati, Yoga Sadhana Paddhati, as well as Nyasa Kriyamanya. All this was able to, the metaphysics of the Tantra was being combined by him. He was able to connect that to the ritual science, whatever we follow as a Nyasa, or whatever we do as a sadhana paddhati, as a ritual. He was able to connect this, and he was able to tell beautifully, once you start doing the Tantra metaphysic, that is actually the rituals along with the ritual science, there is something called as a body need to be connected in such that you start experiencing your body as a channel, and that was actually taught as yoga. And in yoga psychology, he was able to teach very beautifully that how this bodily outer body experience can be experienced by this body. The first person to teach us that how this body can experience the out of body experiences. This metaphysics was being given in Tantra Loka Shastra very beautifully. Tantra Loka is actually 37 encyclopedia of the Shiva Tantra. See, here he was able to also give us about something called as an esoteric connection, that is actually called as in the Rasa, we call it as a Rasa Shastra. Rasa Shastra or a Rasa theory is like combination of all those things in such a way how exactly the essence comes out, and that outcome is none other. Today also we can witness about the Tantra Loka, and that is a gift has 37 encyclopedia PDF about the complete Shaiva Tantra was been unfolded to us with his grace. Again, Tantra Loka is about the combination of a trika, it is about the karma, it is about the kaula, it is about the spanda. All these things, whatever he was able to learn from his gurus, in a single vision he was able to bind this as a Tantra Loka, and the 37 chapters are being gifted to us. It is available in the net, you can go and search. And also, a greatest gift as human what we are experienced today is about Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Maybe I will try to share how exactly this has been connected, but before that let me just tell you one of the connected stories. I would I think that you would be happy to listen this. It has been said that actually very less people or legends know about this particular instance. It has only been said that actually when it comes to the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, it is the discussion between the Shiva as well as a Parvati, or it is a discussion between Bhairava as well as a Bhairavi, where actually Shiva himself was able to tell about the circles of the Tantra Loka, how exactly this particular body, the breath, can be experienced with the five senses, connecting to and getting out of the liberation. This is what actually he was able to teach. This is what actually we all know. There is one more story connected to it. During intense period of Kaula Sadhana, at the age of like 40-45, he happened to actually his sadhana was very intense. Kaula Sadhana was very intense at given point of time, and at one given point of time, Shambunatha had told him that unless you get the siddhi of Kala Bhairava, don't get returned back to the Gurukula. And he told this, made him to sit in the cremation ground, and he came off. And he, as sadhaka, went, started performing his sadhana paddhati for a couple of days. It is been said that on one sacred night, especially on the Amavasya, Bhairava, when he was performing certain rituals, Bhairava, it has been said that actually he had created the Bhairava Mandala, and in that Bhairava Mandala, he was able to sit and perform all the tantric rituals. And it has been said that actually in as the Bhairava Sthala, the Bhairava was able to give his darshana, the Mahavatara darshana, the supreme darshana to Abhinavagupta in that cremation ground. And today that particular space is also been articulated in certain books as Jivalam, or we can call it as Vistara river. Nearby to that, it is called something called as an Bhairavasthala, and that is the place actually where Abhinavagupta had actually done the puja vidhana. That particular darshana, Mahavatara darshana of Kala Bhairava to Abhinavagupta was so intense that he was actually in his tears. He was able to experience the Bhairava, and when Bhairava came in front of him in that dead night, black dead night in Amavasya, the cold was completely heavy and it was actually burning, intense burning. He was performing certain yagna, havana, mantra, mandala, everything he had created. And the avatar of the Bhairava, when he was able to see the furious avatar of the Bhairava, he was like speechless. The dhuni actually, from the dhuni, actually Bhairava himself was able to give the Mahadarshana. Immediately after seeing him, he was able to recite one particular mantra. Till dated, we all practice the Moola mantra, Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Trust me, even this was the first mantra he was able to recite when he was able to see the Mahavatara of the Bhairava himself. And after seeing this, Bhairava himself actually was very pleased about his surrenderness, his rituals which was being performed. Turiyatita avastha, experiencing this body, walking, dreaming, as well as in deepest sleep, he had conducted all these stages of Turiyatita such that actually Bhairava's Maha Darshana was able to receive to him. In that stillness, Guru Bhairava was able to recite, he was able to tell that he has not come as a form, but he has come as to teach as his last master, to disclose him that about I and the divine are not separate. Advaita, whatever we call it, from a Shankaracharya was being gifted. Similar way, Bhairava himself was able to tell that being a master, I'm going to teach there is something not called me and the divine is not separate. He was able to, the Bhairava himself was able to teach all that 112 different dharanas to Abhinavagupta, and he was a first person to witness Bhairava himself telling all this information to him, and he was able to experience and capture this information. Till dated, if we are able to read that 112 ways of dharana, we know about Vijnana Bhairava Tantra spoken by Shiva as well as to the Shakti, Bhairava to Bhairavi, but when it comes to who has written it, we always miss the dots. It was Abhinavagupta. Because of his blessings, because of his dedication, his surrenderness to the Bhairava, Guru Bhairava was able to give his Mahadarshana, Mahavatara Darshana, and he was able to give a Guru Bodhana to him, that 112 ways of liberation from this body. It has been also been said, like, maybe I'll try to connect its dot. After learning all these things, he actually was able to start teaching to the and living like a Bhairava himself. Whenever he used to go to the nearby villages, villagers used to call him as a Bhairava himself. They used to recite his name as Bhairava, not as Abhinava. They used to call him as or they never used to call him as yogi. They used to call him as Bhairava himself. Especially the disciples from the Tibet, and especially from the Central Asia, and most of from the people who had from the south, all over India basically, okay. Siddhars, they used to call him as Bhairava himself, okay. And his teaching of art, poetry, as well as music was so binded, it used to be only reciting about the Shiva Guna, Shakti Guna himself, because Tantra Loka is all the combination of all these things. And he was able to, had a knowledge in such a way, the efforts, the fearlessness presence he used to share in front of everyone, despite his knowledge, he used to be described from the villages as well as the disciples that Kala Bhairava walking in a human form. They used to tell that Kala Bhairava himself is walking in a human form as Abhinavagupta. And it was like at the age of 40, 50, this one situation happened. When he used to teach to all his disciples, he made sure that actually what is the major purpose of his life and how exactly he need to get merged into the Bhairava consciousness. It has been beautifully articulated that he was able to gather almost like 1200 disciples. Okay, and he was able to give them a diksha about something called as Bhairava Guna. Okay, how exactly Bhairava can be embarked, how his bhavana can be embarked in oneself, in one's life, and how exactly his dharana can be held, how exactly 112 ways of invoking the dharanas can actually take oneself to connectivity to the divine. He was able to gather that 1200 disciples and able to teach and open up something called as an Bhairava Guna to them. This led them that actually continuous chanting of what we call it as a Bhairava Moola Mantra, Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Okay, and again you may be wondering like actually is it like only Om Bhairavaya Namaha? Let me also tell you, there are in when it comes to the Bhairava Anugraha channel, when it comes to the Batuka Bhairava, the Guruji has already given certain information, Deepak Guruji, that Om Reem Batukaya Apatuddaranaya Kuru Kuru Batukaya Reem Om. This particular mantra is also called as a Bhairava Moola Mantra of Batuka Bhairava. And when it comes to the Moola Mantra, Om Bhairavaya Namaha, Om Kala Bhairavaya Namaha, all these things are actually being connected. There is one particular mantra which is also been part like a longer form of Moola Mantra, but let me just tell very quickly. It is like Om Aim Reem Shreem Batukaya Apatuddaranaya Kuru Kuru Batukaya Reem Phat Swaha. Here Reem Phat Swaha comes only when we perform certain kind of yagnas. Once we perform certain kind of a rituals, we use this particular longer form of Moola Mantras. As I always told, your Moola Mantra is going to be a game changer. It is going to be such a gift for all of us. We can experience Bhairava only by reciting this mantra, Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Okay, so do not take this mantra so lightly and ask that what is the next Maha Mantra. It is not actually about the combination or giving the difficulties syllable mantras to you to actually recite it. No, that is not an idea. Idea is about in that particular mantra how easily establishment of the connection we as an individual will be able to connect to the Daiva. That is what the beautiful connection between the mantra sadhana is all about. Coming back to the story, all those 1200 disciples who were being introduced to the Bhairava Guna was able to recite the Bhairava Moola Mantra. And the Bhairava Moola Mantra was recited in such a way, continuous mantra was being recited for 24 bars. And all the disciples in the batches, they used to sit, recite continuously in that particular. They used to go and sit in one particular cave and they used to recite this. It is been said the entire Maha Samadhi of the 1200, including Abhinavagupta, happened on the same great absorption, what we call it as merging into the Kala Bhairava consciousness or Kala Bhairava Jnana. We call it as actually, we can call it as Guna, Bhairava Guna. It happened in such a way, entire 1200 people got vanished. After reciting this mantra for a couple of days, it has been said that the 1200 people were able to recite 108 days of sadhana was being took, and in that particular cave, and in that cave when the Moola Mantra was being recited, Sabar Mantra, we call it even the Sabar Mantra also, very powerful mantra when it comes to the Sabar Mantra. The Sabar Mantra was being recited with Moola Mantra. It is been said that entire 1200 people along with Abhinavagupta were completely vanished. They were completely dissolved in Bhairava. The legendary says that actually entire cave naturally became in such a body. No bodies were been ever been found after that day. After 108th day of the sadhana, no one were able to trace out that where exactly this disciple along with Guru went. It has been said that particular human who walked as a Bhairava, Kala Bhairava himself, was able to take that 1200 sadhakas and were able to create and able to give them each individual task, such that actually they as in volunteers will be able to perform certain dharma sadhana paddhati when it comes to the today's stage. Every sadhakas or every rishimunis used to make sure that they used to train certain set of sadhakas, not for that particular individual. They already had gauged that what can come in future, and they had prepared that set of disciples who can actually take their legacy to the next level. And whenever there used to be actually a problem, they have always come. This is what even Abhinavagupta, as the greatest Rishi, a walking Bhairava, was able to teach us. See, let me actually tell you, when it comes to the Abhinavagupta, he was not only the master, tantric master, okay? He was a chosen tantri. We can call it as a tantri because he used to practice the tantra. He is a practitioner of the tantra. In a worldly sense, people call it as a tantri, and when it comes to the tantri, people take this as a word as a taboo, and they will tell always that actually, no, this is only for the set of people. No. Tantra we cannot choose Tantra. Let me just tell you. Tantra chooses us. As Daiva chooses us, similarly, certain Devatas only chooses us. We do not have that capability to go and do a certain sadhanas, certain mantra siddhis, or certain mantra invocation we cannot be done. Tantra chooses us. Similarly, Tantra was chosen him. Okay, and that is the reason he became the greatest Tantri at that given point of time. Shaktipat was actually, it is also been said that even at it is a last stage as he used to practice Shaktipat. That is the reason I always tell, Pratama Charana, whatever we have completed about the Guru Bhairava, it has to be as our foundation till wherever we are being pulled out to. Until that extent, we should make sure that the mantra of the Pratama Charana is being recited. Our Moola mantra, Om Bhairavaya Namaha, is never been forgotten. We always recite that as a sadhana, not only in sitting during a sadhana, walking, sleeping, dreaming stage, same like how the Abhinavagupta was able to invoke Bhairava, we also will be able to invoke it. Immense multiple stream of knowledge actually made him as a living Bhairava. The intense Kaula practices made him as a living Bhairava. Direct Bhairava realization made him as a Bhairava. So let me also tell you, Abhinavagupta was not only being told as a walking Bhairava, not only by the people, he as a yogi became as a Bhairava himself because he was able to create that aura. And this is the Kala Bhairava, not wrathful God to fear. It is a mercy, compassion to cut through the illusion what actually he was able to come into this existence. And Abhinavagupta was able to teach us all these things, that how exactly as we humans, how exactly we as a sadhakas will be able to experience Bhairava in oneself, in one's life. Maybe with that note, I'll take a leave for this particular video. Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Kala Kalaya Vidmahem Kalatitaya Dhimahim Tannah Kala Bhairava Prachodayat. Om Ashitanga Bhairanam Chanda Kapala Krodha Unnata Bhishana Ruru Samhara Bhairavaya Namaha. Namaskar.